All right, let's dive into a truly epic confrontation. We're talking about a tyrant king whose entire empire is built on defiance, going head to head with a man whose conviction is about to be tested by fire itself. So, our story kicks off in a world completely dominated by one man, Nimrod, the king of Shinar. And you have to understand, he's not just some ruler. The guy's a force of nature. He radiates this intense ambition that's one part incredible charisma and one part pure, raw danger. This is the man holding the world in his fist. And his empire? It's the direct fallout from the infamous Tower of Babel. Yeah, it looks like a monument to human pride, but really, its foundations are totally rotten, poisoned by corruption, endless conflict, and a curse that has just never gone away. I mean, just look at the names of his great cities. These aren't victory monuments. Babel, Erech, Assad, Calneh, each name is basically a scar. It's a permanent reminder of confusion, of being scattered, of battle, and of destruction. His kingdom is literally built on the memory of failure. So, while Nimrod is doubling down on his own wicked rule, and by the way, his son Merdon is shaping up to be even worse, the rest of the world isn't doing any better. It's just splintering into civil wars and brutal conquests. You've got new tyrants like Chedorlaomer popping up and carving out their own little empires. Chaos is pretty much the new world order. And right in the middle of all this turmoil, an entire era is quietly coming to an end. The generation that actually saw Babel with their own eyes, guys like Peleg and Nahor, they're passing away. And just as their time is ending, a new force is about to walk onto the world stage. A 50-year-old man named Abram, coming home with a destiny he's only just starting to figure out. But here's the thing, Abram is not the same man who left all those years ago. After almost 4 decades learning from Noah and Shem, he comes back with this clarity, this purpose that is about to send a massive shockwave right through the heart of Nimrod's empire. So he walks into his father's house, and you have to remember, his dad, Terah, is a high-ranking commander in Nimrod's army. And what's the first thing he sees? Not a welcome home party. No, he finds a room filled with 12 huge idols made of wood and stone. He is immediately standing face to face with the exact corruption he's come to fight. And that sight, it just unleashes this righteous fury inside him. It's not just being disappointed, it's this deep, holy anger. He makes a solemn vow right then and there, a promise that this systemic rot will not be allowed to stand, and he's starting right here, in his own home. But Abram doesn't just, fly off the handle. He stages this brilliant, provocative piece of political theater. He cooks a whole feast for these idols, watches them do absolutely nothing all day, and then just mocks them for being lifeless. And then, with the Spirit of God on him, he picks up a hatchet and brings the whole system crashing down. So when his father gets home, Abram has this perfect trap laid out. He blames the biggest idol for smashing all the others. Terah, of course, completely loses it, screaming that that's impossible, they're just wood and stone. And boom, that's the trap. Abram turns his father's own logic right back on him and exposes how absurd the whole thing is. So, Terah is cornered by a truth he can't possibly deny. And what does he do? He panics. He chooses the safety of serving a tyrant king over the radical truth his own son just showed him. In that moment, he runs straight to Nimrod and betrays Abram, turning a family argument into a full-blown crisis of the state. So Abram is seized. He's dragged before the most powerful man on earth. This isn't about smashing a few statues in a back room anymore. Oh no, this is a head-on collision between 2 entire worldviews. It's a battle of pure conviction. Instead of begging for his life, Abram goes on the offensive. He stands in front of Nimrod and the entire royal court and just fearlessly condemns the king, his gods, his entire reign. He calls him foolish and ignorant and challenges him to serve the one true God. The sheer audacity, it's just breathtaking. Nimrod is just completely stunned. He has never seen defiance like this before. He can't just execute him on the spot. Abram has made this a public spectacle. So he throws him in prison for 10 days to buy some time and summons every single ruler in his empire. This judgment has to be an imperial statement. So Nimrod and his council, they decide on a punishment that's also a message. They're not just going to kill Abram. They are going to unmake him in the most terrifying display of power they can possibly imagine, a colossal furnace. And the scale of this thing is just
Staggering. We're talking about almost 1 million people gathering for 3 days and 3 nights as this furnace roars. This isn't an execution. It's a dark festival, a massive public ritual designed to prove once and for all that the king's power is absolute and cannot be challenged.
And just when you think Terah can't sink any lower, in a final desperate move to save his own skin, he lies again. This time, he throws his other son, Haran, under the bus, claiming Haran was the real mastermind. And so the king condemns them both. Haran, the son who was conflicted, hesitant, he gets dragged to the flames right alongside his brother. And here's where you see it. The fire isn't just testing flesh, it's testing faith. Haran, whose heart was divided, is consumed in an instant. But Abram, whose heart is completely devoted, he walks freely inside the inferno. The only things that burn are the ropes they tied him with. You can just picture the king's own servants running back to him, their faces white with terror. The report just defies all logic. The man they threw into that furnace isn't just alive, he's unharmed, walking calmly through the very heart of the blaze. And when Abram finally steps out of that furnace, totally clean and unharmed, everything changes. In that one single moment, the world's balance of power just shifts. Nimrod's brute force completely failed against a power he can't even begin to comprehend. A new age has just begun. The fallout is immediate, and it is massive. The king and his princes start showering Abram with gifts, gold, silver, trying to appease the man they couldn't kill. But more importantly, 300 men, guys who were once loyal to Nimrod, now pledge themselves to Abram. The king's authority, which was once absolute, now has a huge crack running right through it. And Nimrod, he never recovers from this. 2 years later, he's haunted by this terrifying dream, a chilling prophecy of his own doom. He sees a man who looks like Abram rising from the fire with a sword. He sees his armies swallowed by a flood, and then he sees a bird of prey pluck out his own eye. He knows, deep in his bones, that his defeat is now just a matter of time. After being warned about an assassination plot, Abram escapes. He even manages to convince his father, Terah, to finally abandon Nimrod and flee with him. The great exodus from Nimrod's corrupt empire has officially started. The age of Babel's pride is finally fading, and it's making way for the age of Abram. So this whole epic clash really leaves us with a powerful question. It pits the greatest power in the world against an unshakable personal conviction, and it forces us to ask what true strength and authority really are. Is it the power to command armies and build furnaces, or is it the power to stand firm in the middle of the fire?